it's Carrie here. So I don't know about you, but sometimes I can be my own worst enemy. You know, I can be the loudest critic that I've got for myself. And sometimes this is a good thing. So sometimes when I criticise myself, it actually helps me to get better. So when something needs improving and I'm like, actually, this could be better, that helps. But there is a massive difference between saying something like, oh, I need to really get better at this needs improving, and thinking something like, this is a big mess, it's hopeless, I can't do this, it's never going to work out, who's going to want this, no one. And that is totally different, because that is really self-destructive thinking. And when we have this really loud and obnoxious inner enemy, it can literally shut down our inspiration, and we end up just focusing on all the negative things, all the things that are going wrong, and it makes things 10 times harder. It makes it so much harder to succeed when we are really in that self-sabotage frame of mind. And I personally find this to be true. I cannot tell you the number of times I've come up with ideas and then that little enemy inside of me creeps back up and starts saying, oh, you can't do this, you're no good, it's never going to make it happen. And the number of times I've actually paid attention and I've listened, and it's actually stopped me from doing the things I wanted to do. And in fact, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. So the first time I had this tiny little idea, like this little seed of idea to do something to do with female entrepreneurs, was actually back in 2008. And it took me 3 years to actually set up the Female Entrepreneur Association. And within those 3 years, I set up 3 different websites and I had 3 different names. And every time I would set one up, I'd get really excited, I'd put the website together, I'd get the content on there, and I'd get really excited. Within a few weeks, I'd have started to think, this is, you know, little natural things that happen when you actually start to turn an idea into reality. You instantly face challenges and obstacles. I was getting, traffic, and then I started to think, well, why would anyone want to come to this website? It's no good. Why are people going to like it? Why would they want to come here? I can't do this. I'm no one. And I started to have these really self-sabotaging thoughts, and that inner critic within inside me just became so loud that every time I started it, I ended up stopping. And I just ended up thinking, I can't do this anymore. And obviously this happened a number of times before I actually finally made it happen and actually decided to do it, which was in 2011. And the thing is, I think that if I hadn't changed back in 2011, I would never be living the life I'm living today. I would never have achieved the things I've achieved and be doing the things I'm doing now if I hadn't have changed, and if I hadn't have figured out how I could silence that inner critic, that inner enemy, that inner voice that says, you can't do it, you're not good enough. Because we all have one of those voices. Every single one of us has those feelings and that little voice that says you can't. And that has been so crucial to me, is learning how to switch that off and to stop paying attention to it. So I want to share with you 3 steps that have really, really helped me, and they helped me back then. They helped me, in fact, to transform my life back then. But they help me now because I still have that inner voice, that inner little critic that goes off in my head every time I want to do something new that's a bit scary, that's unknown to me. That little voice does creep back in. And so these 3 things really help me. And the first step is this. The first step is to make a pact with yourself to be kind to yourself. So back in 2011, I realised something absolutely massive. I realised that I got to choose what I was thinking, how I was feeling, and the decisions I made. And when I realised that, it changed everything for me. And there's a quote that I absolutely love, which I reference all the time because I think it's brilliant, and it's by Viktor Frankl, and he said, everything in life can be taken away from you, except for your freedom to choose how you respond to the situations that you're faced with. And I just think that is so empowering, that we can't control the circumstance we find ourselves faced with. We can't control the challenges that we're going to have to overcome. We can't control really that stuff. But we can control how we respond to it. We get to choose how we respond, how we're going to actually deal with that situation. And I think that is so empowering. Because for me, back a few years ago, I was focusing on the fact that I felt so lonely and isolated running my business, on the fact that I really didn't have a passion for the business I was running, and I was focusing on all these negative things all the time. That's how I was choosing to respond to my situation, to the situations that I was in, rather than looking at the fact that I was actually running a really successful online business, or the fact that I had the freedom to do so many other things, and all the other amazing things that were going on in my life. I mean, even down to just basic basic things like health and family and all that amazing stuff. And I was choosing to just see the negative stuff. And so by doing that, I just kept creating more of the same negative reality for myself. And once I took a step back and thought, hang on a minute, what on earth am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? I just realised that I needed to change. And that's when I decided that I had to be kind to myself. So I sat down and I made a pact with myself to be kind to myself, to treat myself like I would treat other people, because there's no way I would ever treat someone else the way as mean or as cruelly as I treated myself. I would never put someone down the way I would put myself down. I would never beat someone else up the way I beat myself up mentally about everything that was going on. I wouldn't do it. I would never tell someone, you can't do this, you're rubbish, you're stupid. I would never say that to someone else. So why was I saying it to myself every single day, you know, over and over and over again? And so I just thought, why am I doing this? And I knew for sure, with 100% certainty, that I didn't want to go on the way that was the way things had been. I knew I had to change. And so I knew that I had two choices. I either carried on allowing myself to criticise myself so much, or I changed. So that's what I did. I made the conscious decision to be kind to myself instead of making the decision to be mean to myself. And I don't think that was something I mean, obviously I was consciously aware of the fact I was saying mean things to myself, but I don't think I consciously was aware that I'd made that decision. It's not like I thought to myself, right, Carrie, today you're going to be mean to yourself, you're going to really beat yourself up about stuff. It wasn't like that. I was just doing it and doing it and doing it, and it just really became part of a habit that I just got into of doing that and self-sabotaging. So then I changed and I thought, actually no, now I'm going to make this conscious decision for myself that I am going to be kind to myself, and today I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to give myself a hard time about it. I'm going to be nice to myself. And I think just making that conscious decision, even becoming consciously aware of how you're talking to yourself, can make such a massive difference. So the second thing to do is this: embrace yourself, warts and all. Embrace all the things about yourself, whether it's the mistakes, whether it's your imperfections, whether it's the things you do wrong. Just embrace it all. Embrace the good and the bad, because the thing is, you learn from all of it. I think I have probably learned more from all the things I did wrong, from all the mistakes I made, from all my imperfections, than I have ever learned from all the things that went right and all the things I did really well. And so actually, they're a good thing. They're a good part of life. You know, we have this journey, this adventure, and there's ups and there's downs. We make mistakes, we do really great things, we do really rubbish things. And I think that when you change your perception and you realise that you accept it all, you accept that all of it's probably going to happen and that it's okay, I feel like you give yourself permission for it to be okay, and so you don't really beat yourself up like you would, because it's okay, you accept it and it's fine. And once you've accepted something, then you can let it go. And I think that is, again, really something that's really helped to make me feel empowered whenever I feel like this inner critic coming on. So the next thing to try is this: tell that inner voice to shut up and then focus on positive possibilities. So this is something else that helps me. Now, whenever that little inner enemy of mine goes on a rant and starts telling me I can't do things, it's never going to happen, it's all hopeless, it's rubbish, it's impossible, whenever that happens, I really now find myself saying, will you shut up? No one cares. No one cares about you, what you have to say. I don't care. I'm not interested in this anymore. And I think that by doing that, by taking that step, and you know, even saying it in your head, you don't have to say it out loud, but even saying it in your head is so empowering, because it's just like you start to think, actually no, I've got control over you. I'm not going to listen to you whittering on about a load of rubbish and telling me a load of nonsense which quite frankly isn't going to help me, so you can shut up. And I find that that is so empowering, that we can actually choose to shut up that inner voice. And then once you have shut it up, I think it really helps me to then start focusing on the positive possibilities that could occur. So all the exciting things, all the amazing things that could happen. And if you can't manage to do that straight after you're feeling negative and down, disappointed about something, then just, it's fine, just accept that, think it over, walk away, do something else, go and get inspired. Go and read a book, go and watch a video, go and listen to some music. Do something that makes you feel good. Do something to help change that mindset from feeling negative to feeling positive. Whatever it takes, just take yourself away from the situation and do something to help you feel good. And that will really, really help you to like change your mindset and to get you back into a positive frame of mind. So those three things really, really help me, because I still have my inner critic, but I've just learned how to ignore it. I've learned how to quiet that voice down, to ignore it, and that has empowered me so much. That has helped me to make massive progress with things. There's no way on this earth I would be sat here making this video if I hadn't quietened down that inner voice, that inner critic within inside of me, because I would have just watched all these videos back and thought, that's wrong, I made a mistake there, I don't look good in that video. And you know, I'd had that voice that told me I couldn't do it. So actually taking these strategies and using them and applying them have really helped me to really get over that inner critic and that inner enemy and do the things I want to do and do the things I enjoy doing. So I want to leave you with something from a guy called Dan Milliman from Body Mind Mastery. He said something which I think is so true. He said this. He said, if babies held the same tendency towards self-criticism as adults, they might never learn to walk or talk. Can you imagine infants stomping around, I screwed up again? Fortunately, babies are free of self-criticism. They just keep practicing. He goes on to say, so be gentle with yourself. Show yourself the same kindness and patience you might show a young child, the child you once were. If you won't be your own friend, who will you be? If, when playing an opponent, you are also opposing yourself, you will be outnumbered. You probably would find it cruel and unnecessary to say to someone, you are really stupid. You keep making the same mistakes. You should give up. You'll never be any good. Yet we think it's okay to say the same things to ourselves. And I just think he really encapsulates that message really, really well. The fact that we are so quick to be hard on ourselves, to beat ourselves up, yet we wouldn't ever treat anyone else like that. So why do we think it's okay for us to treat ourselves like that? It's not. And the thing is, we can take power over this really easily and make a difference and stop that inner voice, that inner critic from talking us out of doing things, from holding us back, from stopping us from actually going for it and making our dreams come true. So I hope these things have really helped you. They really helped me. If you have any advice or tips on this topic, then please leave a comment on the blog and let me know what you think. And I will see you next time.